Angus here, and today we're going to talk about velocity-based training on the strength erg. We're going to talk about what is velocity-based training and what it's like with leg press, and then we're going to look at some numbers and see what they mean and see if we can use the strength erg for velocity-based training to improve your overall training. What is velocity-based training? So the people who already know what velocity-based training might want to skip this, but let's just have a little recap or try and explain it for people who don't know what velocity-based training is. So you got strength on one side as the Mac Daddy, strength being the absolute strength. So strength is broken down into different components. So absolute strength is the absolute amount of weight lifted. We'll use bench press as an example. So say your 1 rep max is 100 kilos for the easy maths. That will move really, really slowly, and it might take less or it might take more than 0.5 meters per second. So if you're moving 1 meter per second, that's quite fast. If you're moving 0.5 meters per second, that you've moved a very short distance over a longer period of time. So being strong is really useful, but strength, the stronger you are, the more power. And power is this crossroads between your strength and your speed. That's where power is. So speed would be the fastest speed you can go. So zoop, that was really fast, but there was no resistance there. If I had a big weight, that would take longer. But if I wanted to punch someone and knock them out, if I went like that, it's fast, but it's not powerful. You want to bam. You want to go through them hard, but you don't want to go through them and push them. You want to go bam, create power. So power is created roughly about 50% of your 1 rep max. It depends differently for different people. So we've got things called absolute strength. That's at 0.5 meters per second. Then you got accelerative strength, which is between 0.5 and 0.75. And then you've got strength speed, which we could also just call power, and that's 0.75 to 1 meter per second. And then once you get below that, it's called speed strength, and then it's called starting strength. I would just call that speed. So we've got our different speed profiles. On the strength erg, you can actually see it, but it's not as good as, say, first of all, let's hold up Beast. This one's really old and I don't use this anymore because it was fine and it did stuff, but it wasn't super accurately and it had ghost reps, etc. The one I use now is called Stance, and I'll see if I can get you guys a discount code of this if you're into barbell lifting. It's called Stance. Check them out on Instagram. Absolutely phenomenal. At the moment, don't have deadlift on there. They just have variations of bench press and variations of squat. And it's very, very accurate. And it's a very, very cool device for measuring your speed. So why would you want to measure your speed? So let's say you don't want to go into that grindy rep. You set yourself a profile of going, hey, today's speed is going to be 0.75. So I'm going to do as many reps as I can. But once I drop below that speed, I'm going to stop training because you're training that aspect of power. Or you could pick another aspect of power. So everything between the fastest you can go and the heaviest you can go is a different curve. And depending on your sport, you can get quite specific. You also got the West Side barbell training system. So you've got dynamic effort days and you've got maximal effort days. So maximal effort days is you're going to do a heavy double, heavy single, or heavy triple, and they vary the bars in West Side. But then you've also got your dynamic effort day. So that's set at 50% of your 1 rep max, and you're moving the weight as fast as you can for 5 reps. And if you think 50% of my 1 rep max flies up, but you're trying to create speed. Now with something like Stance, you can measure that speed and fine tune it for you. So you might be perfect at 50%, but your mate Dave might need 60% he can move 60% just as fast, then he needs to do that, and then your mate Mike might be 40%. So rather than just using a general 50%, and only the people who land there in that perfect spot use that, you can go up and you can niche it in. You can also say you're doing heavy singles with Stance and you're trying to practice your 1 rep max and you may be using 90%, you can measure your first rep, your second rep, and your third rep. And the third rep might be so grindy and take so long that you're better off doing more sets of doubles than sets of triples. So say you were doing 3 sets of 3, so 3 sets of 3 would be 9 overall reps. You might be better just doing more sets of doubles to get the same overall volume, but that's faster work. So velocity-based training has lots of cool nuanced things. When I did a course with Gavin Laird a couple of years ago, and it's like well over 10 years ago, he had a velocity base, and he says this is the difference between a good coach and an elite coach. Measuring these numbers of your athletes, and he was training Cage Warriors champion that broke his fist punching someone so hard. So like that's the level of expertise velocity-based training can do. But we're talking about the strength erg. So the strength erg has it on. So let me show you on the strength erg. First thing you want to do is actually put the damper all the way to down to 1. That will give you your most chance for hitting speed. We'll talk about that a little bit more. I'll do my 3 warm-up reps. I get the fact that there's glare on there, so we'll show you that in a second. So that's that screen. There's the phone screen, which has glare on it. Let me just do a rep and then try and get the glare off. So here we've got, if you can see that there, drive speed. So that's 0.5 drive speed on that rep. So let me just try and get that number a little bit higher. So that one was good. So my actual force won't be that crazy high because the damper is on so low, but I'm training speed. And I really want this up at 1, but anything from 7.5 to 1 is really gonna be training power speed, if we can call that power speed. So rather than looking at this or anything here, I'm only looking at this drive speed to train power speed. So if I have a field athlete that I want them to become more explosive and faster and to be able to get power. So if you've got a sprinter and you're on a dead start, and the faster they can accelerate, the better. So I might do big pauses on the rep timer and get them just to see if we can improve this number over time. That there shows me that I'm moving big weight quite fast, but I'm really looking to improve speed. So if you want to improve speed, which will then improve power. So you could train this in a West Side way where you're doing these a heavy day for say 5 reps, multiple sets, and then another day you put the damper right down at 1 and you're really just trying to train speed. The faster you go, the higher the number will be, but it won't be as impressive as your heavy one. I hope that makes sense. Let's show you a cool move. So with velocity-based training, you can create what's called a power curve. And the reason you would want that is you can see if you're on the predicted line or not. You can see, do you have strength, power, or speed, and which one's lacking. So you want your curve to be as smooth as possible. So if, in my case, I'm strong, and my power is below where it should be. So if I increase my power, I'll increase my overall strength. You might be the other way around. You might be all power and not have enough strength. And your power will only go so far if your 1 rep max is here instead of up here. So that's why velocity-based training is cool. And you could use the strength erg to figure out a similar plot or map with your athlete, or you can just track, do they increase power over time? Or you do this dual training of power days and speed days. Or if they're doing power and strength, say with trap bar jumps and heavy trap bars, you could just do strength or just do speed on the erg. I've got some of my athletes doing broad jumps, which is really cool, but sometimes it's wet and the sort of artificial grass outside is slidey. So this is something that I'm going to be incorporating with them, is some speed reps in here and see if we can hit that speed and just not look at the strength numbers at all. Just how fast can you move this on damper 1? And then once they hit that 1 meter per second, put the damper to 2, put the damper to 3. If they hit that, I don't know if anyone can. We'll see with some of the stronger lads, and we'll see if the stronger lads are the faster lads. That would be an interesting experiment as well. Anyway, Angus out. Check this video next.